chorister walked up to me and she said, "Renee," because I was singing in chest voice a lot and this lower voice, which is really kind of virile sounding. And she said, "Renee, you're all woman, but you've got the best parts of a man." I said, "You know, I'm not going to really think about that. I'll just say thank you." But it's easier for me, and the reason I make that choice is because it's easier for me, and I think it's still effective because I can't just sit up in the stratosphere all night. That's not something I do well, comfortably.
And also, I think it would just give it greater meaning. I mean, with the desperation of this woman and the insanity.
Yes.
All of that.
And I just want you to know it doesn't hurt.
How old were you when you started to study voice formally?
I was in junior high school, and I had, in the preparatory department at the Eastman School of Music, I had voice lessons, a voice class. It was a voice class. And we did very strange things. We took credit cards, which were probably ID cards, and put them in our lips and went, and I had to sing with our fists in our mouth. And in retrospect, I can see all of the use for those things, but as a 12-year-old, it was just so embarrassing. And but I did learn some nice repertoire. I never thought I would be a singer. It was the last thing in the world I wanted to do. But
what did you want to do?
But I don't know. I didn't know. I didn't really know. I wasn't a particularly independent thinker as a kid. I was busy getting straight A's and making everybody love me. That was my job. And it wasn't until I had a crisis in my mid-20s that I realized that I didn't know what I wanted in life, or even for lunch. So that was then it became my own. That was a really important time for me. And then singing and music became mine, and I suddenly invested in it and loved it and became passionate about it and worked like mad.
I should think, you know, when you said you made it yours, because both your parents, of course, were music teachers,
right.
and you'd have to really leap a giant step in order to say, yes, this is my decision, not mine.
Right, because it was such an hour activity every day. It was a family activity, music. And I always envied my colleagues who said, "Oh, I remember when I was 16 and I discovered that I had a voice." And I never had that moment. But on the other hand, I had these fantastic skills, musicianship skills that I learned as a little girl, and for me it was nothing. It's the exact same thing as a child who grows up in a bilingual family and has a second language. They don't appreciate it as a child. It doesn't mean anything to them, and you see them and you envy them. It's the same for me with music. I had that language at a very young age.
What instruments did you study?
Piano and violin and then viola. And we took a lot of different kinds of lessons. And then I got involved. I got the horses and the monkey. And my parents were wonderfully eccentric about allowing us to follow our various interests.
A monkey, you said?
We had a monkey, yes. 3 days. After 3 days, I said, "We can take it back now."
Are there particular people who influenced you most when you were a student or when you were just starting the singing career?
Yes, I would say early on, by far the most